So we're going to have a few rules for the webinar, basically while we wait for others. The rules basically, one is you turn off your camera and microphone, at least to be able to allow the webinar to transition smoothly. And you can feel free to actually type your questions in the chat box. At the end of the webinar, I'm going to be able to address some of the questions, and others I can also do a follow-up later if need be. Or you can just email the email femalefusionke@gmail in case you need a more one-on-one session. And then lastly, I will still entertain the questions after the presentation, basically, on the topic. So from the whole topic, crafting, building your brand and also crafting identity, at the end of today's webinar, you'll be able to learn to understand the fundamentals of personal branding, basically what it entails. Also identify your unique value proposition and defining your brand identity as an individual, or maybe if you're looking out as coming out as a company or the same. Also, you'll be able to craft a compelling personal brand story, which will resonate with your own audience. And after identifying the brand and finding your story, I'll show you ways on how you can be able to leverage online platforms and social media to build and promote your personal brand. Because at the end of the day, you can build your brand, but you have to put it out there for guys to actually be able to know about it, and also they can benefit from your brand itself, and also learn how to monitor monetize your brand. Because I also believe that is another crossover we have to make in most of our brands. We can know who we are, but we don't know how to use our passions actually to benefit from it financially. And also establishing a consistent, authentic online presence, which will reflect your brand identity, and also discuss on the challenges, because whatever it is that you come about, you start up, you have either way going to face challenges here and there, and basically just understand how we can be able to overcome them. Thank you again. Many of you know me by name, but for those who don't know, I'm Stella Muyoka. And Stella basically is someone who's dedicated to women. And considering the name of considering the name of the organization, it's the Shipless. I believe in empowering women. If you've had 10 minutes, even 5 minutes with me, I'm always going to talk about motherhood, parenting, and just women, basically. I believe in empowering women and nurturing them to break their glass ceiling. They also understanding that they have to find meaning in life, because we all have to find why our living is meaningful, and also just being able to thrive in every scope of life, whether it's parenting, motherhood, is professional, whether you're working, business, whatever it is, we find aspect in which we can be able to thrive in them. So I help individuals across whatever sector you are, whether work or life, to be able to unlock your potential. And I believe in fostering a community where individuals are empowered to embrace their uniqueness, also pursue their passion, and create meaningful change in the world. And I believe when you talk about passion, passion is a place also where we find that it's hard for individuals to actually be able to identify what is it they're passionate about. According to Jill Haggett, it says that everyone has a personal brand, whether consciously or not. Basically, your brand is how you are perceived as a person, and that's your personal brand, whether you do it knowingly or unknowingly, basically. So today, by the end of the webinar, I want you to be able to just be able to let go of who you're supposed to be and be who you are, because I feel like social media has pushed us, has given us a picture perfect life and situation that most people want to copy that, so they can be able also to go go viral, because that is what they've been shown. And I feel like we tend to lose who we are during the process, because if you pretend to be someone for so long, you're going to actually end up being that person. And that is where we end up having the imposter syndrome, where you feel like you don't belong where you are, yet you're presently there. So I'm gonna start with the poor brand image. basically when you have a poor brand image, you feel you're a bit cast down, and you can have a good compelling story, but when your image is not attractive or it doesn't resonate with your audience, basically you're going to feel like you're a failure. And when your brand, you have a poor brand image, first you're going to have limited opportunities, also negative reputation and missed career advancement. So I'm going to use some couple of examples to actually get down on that poor branding. One of the common brands that we know as Kenyans is Aramis. Aramis is a brand that has been known for quite a long, long time. And we, for those who grew up in the remote areas, we knew it as a gel that is used to actually milk cows. And later over the years, women in the society actually were able to use Aramis since it was being used with the cows, because it's a bit smooth. We use it for beauty, and we found that it actually improved the skin of the women. So and other benefits that come with using the Aramis. So during that time, it was rebranded to Aramis, as you can see on your far right. And I believe you remember there was a very backlash. The customers had a backlash on the brand, and they were complaining. I remember the word that stood out as is we love Aramis the way it is. And sometimes rebranding can lead to loss of identity of a brand. And this is one of the example that we can see, because as much as they were trying to, I believe Aramis was trying to rebrand to be able to accommodate the new found market for themselves other than for the farmers, because clearly they were making this for farmers. But now, because the beauty industry had already embraced it, and they were getting more sales from that, I believe they're trying to rebrand to actually identify with the specific brand. But sometimes rebranding it can be good and it can be bad. But you also have to understand, like, why are you rebranding, and are your customers going to be okay with whatever rebrand you're creating. Equally, the same example goes also to Coca-Cola. There's a time also Coca-Cola, sometime back, they tried to, guys were complaining about the high fructose they use in the sodas, and they tried to change it into something more healthy for their customers. But they were doing it on the good intention. They were trying to remove something that is poisonous to their customers, to use something that is going to accommodate them to fit into their positive health. And in reaction to that, the taste became so bitter and bad that the customers were on phone lashing out to the Coca-Cola company itself. So that is another example of, I know there's also a good example of Coca-Cola, but that is one example of the bad branding actually they did sometimes. And then I want to just play a So I want to play a video for you guys. This is, I don't know, for those, this is a brand, a beer brand. It's called Heineken. And this is an advertisement that was put out in 2018. I think it was in South Africa. And they were trying to promote their later beer. But the intention was to just promote their later beer to their customers. I'll just play the video for a bit so that you can see and be able to understand what I'm trying to put across. Sorry. This is another example of sometimes we rebrand with good intentions, but we don't look at understand the customer, how the customer is going to perceive our branding. And I believe this is one of the ads that they put out. They had to apologize to their customers, because as you can, when you analyze the ad itself, it's saying it's supporting sometimes lighter is better. But you can see it's a light person who's light colored person who's actually serving the beer, and the barman is serving the beer. So you see that he's looking and he notices a lighter lady, and it takes his binoculars to be actually able to see the lighter lady. And you can see how the Heineken is passing. But now they use blacks, the darker people with darker skin. The beer was passing through them to go to the lighter lady. So their concept was to just promote how better they have low calories in their beer, but see how it was perceived differently. So they actually had to apologize to their customers. From that, what is a brand? When we say Coca-Cola, we say Safaricom. Something comes like when you say Safaricom, you say Twaweza. If I talk about Coca-Cola, and you can also capture when you say Coca-Cola, you will see the color is red, of course, as always. So that is how distinct a brand can be. So what is a brand? Basically, it's just a distinct identity or image of oneself or a commodity that makes it stand out from the competitors that sell similar product or service. Why is Safaricom better than Airtel? You have the reasons, but Safaricom promotes a lot of Twaweza. And it's when you look at the logo of Safaricom, it's Safaricom, and then at the lower side, it's Twaweza. It is also a rebrand that was done some time back. And also, when you look at we talk about Coca-Cola, when you say Coca-Cola, we say Coca-Cola company or Fanta or anything, they promote togetherness with family or friends in most of their ads. When you look at Red Bull as a product itself, it promotes it goes by saying Red Bull gives you wings. But in most occasions, you don't find them promoting their product itself, like what is contained in the product. It just embraces how the customer is going actually to feel. So what is personal branding in itself? So it's basically just a process of creating a distinct identity and image of oneself, where you're highlighting your unique qualities and also skills and experiencing. So it's basically the process of just creating a brand. And one thing about brand is brands are very different, and different people come with different concepts. So the importance of personal branding one is to help you stand out because we need to know, why should I use Airtel instead of Safaricom? Why should I drink Coca-Cola instead of Pepsi? Why do each brand stand out in what concept and aspect? Because both brands are in the market and they all have their own specific customers. And also it will aid individuals to establish credibility. And this is through facts, the facts that you come about with. Also attract opportunity for you. That is basically when you have a brand, it's like a story. So your story is going to be kept on being told by people in different rooms without you being present, and also just build meaningful relationship. Here it can be either on a personal level or on a professional level. And also it equates, I believe, branding still, even if we are in the workspace. When you look at what John is doing and what Peter is doing, they both come with different aspects of who they are, and that is actually your brand. Like, what can your boss say about you? That is actually your brand, and a brand basically is a perception. When you're talking about a personal brand, it's just a perception of what people have about you. So whatever brand you're creating, the goal is for you to actually occupy space in the minds of your target audience. So, and lastly, to help you differentiate yourself, build trust and leave lasting impression. And this comes well in also networking spaces, because when you understand who you are and what you can offer, it's easy for you to actually interact with people. So the first and the very longest concept we're going to talk about is identify your unique value proposition, who you are as a person. Like, how can you find yourself? How can you say that I am a personal branding coach? Like, I can nurture individuals, grow in the various aspects of their lives. First, you start by asking yourself who you are, what makes you unique, and how do others perceive you. And when you sit down and look at this, if you can't be able to define it yourself, you can use other people to help you do it. And here you basically have to define your strength. So you have to assess your skills, your talent, and expertise. You identify what sets you apart from others. So how do most people see you? How will they describe your personality? And as it has been said, actually, people don't fall in love with business. They fall in love with personality. And for those of us who do marketing, this is a concept that you meet from day to day. You'll find that a customer can relate with your colleague but not relate with you. And sometimes also you can just, when you're interacting with people, the people you can just meet, they're so bubbly and so welcoming that you feel you can be able to bond with them and feel safe with them. So your personality is what is going to actually bring your audience to you. So you have to really, really sit and understand what you can do. And personality, it makes it a simple, you're supposed to make it so simple in the aspect that if Stella is working in a room where Gideon is not in the room, I can talk about Gideon. I can say Gideon does this and this and this, and this is the story. It's supposed to be very simple, very, very simple for people to be able to understand easily. And for you to also be able to identify your unique value proposition, you have to have a high sense of self-awareness, which is very crucial. I highly encourage introspection and self-awareness for individuals. And introspection basically is just examining your own mental and emotional process, because this is very key for you to come up to understand who you are as a person, what makes you do what you do, and what makes you react how you react. Like just your thought process, you need to understand it. And for you to be able to get this, I usually encourage a lot of journaling. Journaling gives you it's an exercise that just clears your mind. For one, it will help you clear your mind. It will help you process your emotion, and it will help you understand who you are as a person. And there's so many scope of journaling. You can be able to just write on a book and express your feelings. But on my, like for I as an individual, as Stella, I tend to have a mind that goes faster than my hand. So sometimes I can be journaling and I start struggling to journal because now I can't process all my thoughts all together. So for people who have the same problem as I have, I usually encourage for audio or video journaling. There's so many apps for it. Or you can just you can lock your camera or your audio app that you have on your phone, because journaling is supposed to be a bit private. You cannot expose yourself like that to people. And it's basically a way to make you understand. So I was even talking to a friend who was telling me they had to journal for 1 year to actually identify what they want in life and build their brand. But they've been able to actually build the brand. You can also do some self-reflection prompts. You can look for quizzes online to reflect on who you are as a person. Just look for questions, answer them best as you can. You can do it repeatedly to get and see what is consistent on whatever you're writing. And lastly, you can also do personality assessment tests. Nowadays, we have so many information out here. It's just up to you to get the information for yourself. And also, as you're trying to come up with whatever you are and understanding that, you also have to embrace your personality as it comes. At the end of the day, we have to let go of who we're supposed to be and be who we are. So think into that. And if you find that a bit hard, you can also identify mentors and models, or just people who inspire you. And you look at who they are as a person, why do you relate to them? And you can also look at who shapes your thinking, like how you think, who shaped your thinking. Most of us got it from our parents, but sometimes when you get our mentors, it goes towards what we actually passionate about or what topics we want to learn. And look at what did you learn from them and understand from there. So learn about their journeys, how they discover their passion, the stories that can offer, the insights and perspective that may resonate with you. And also, you also have to define your purpose when you're doing this. Like when you get the idea of what you want, you have to define your purpose and basically align with it for your audience to see. So we also go to understanding your passion, and this is where I say you have to find what you're passionate about. So you basically have to reflect on what you enjoy doing and what motivates you, and you can ask yourself so many questions. So the best way to get your passion is to just experiment. Like I encourage people to experiment a lot. Experiment with different things. You do it, you learn. You can fail, learn, you can grow. However, it works. But sometimes also when you're starting from square zero, you can also look at activities that you find that you're drawn naturally to. If you love painting, and I tend to say that when you're procrastinating a lot, what is it you like doing the most, other than just watching TV? What is it that draws you? Like when you're stressed, what do you want to do? Like that is what your body is desiring, and that should be your passion. And also, what topics do you enjoy learning about in your free times? You can also consider your strengths and talents when you're actually doing this. And also, what are you naturally good at? Are you a good speaker? Are you a good painter? Do you love cooking? Are you just naturally good at cooking? And also, what tasks and activities you excel in? And you just look at those concepts. Sometimes what makes you mad, like you can be so mad, especially on how we vote for our president, and you can be so mad about a topic, or maybe you can just be so mad at why guys are throwing trash everywhere and anywhere, and that could be your direction to your passion. So you look into that and analyze it from all those aspects. And one thing you need to know, your passion often aligns with your strength. Your passion will always align with your strengths. So when you write, that is why I encourage a lot. You write. When you keep on writing, you can have a backlog of whatever you wrote, and you can come up with what it is you want as a pattern. So basically, experiment a lot, a lot, a lot, and also know you're going to try. It's good to try and fail. You try, fail, but you make it as a lesson. Don't make it as a. Don't allow it to be like your stopping point of trying to experiment and finding yourself. And also, lastly, that something we talk about so oftenly is listening to intuition, where we fail a lot, but we know when you trust your instincts and you listen to your inner voice, it will guide you to the path that aligns with your passion. Always, that is actually the go-to when you're struggling a lot. When you wake up in the morning, what does that voice tell you? You start with that, and you find your brand. So also, when you find your brand, you've understood your passion, you have to look for opportunities where you can be able to explore and also grow your talent as whatever brand you've chosen to, and whatever service you want to offer, or maybe a product. And you explore these areas and use your combination of your strength and passions to be able to grow. And also look for opportunities to differentiate yourself, and also look for opportunities that are going to actually push you to grow together. Also, an example of a brand, I believe, there's the guy that lately has been known. I mean, Kai and Karo is also a brand that you can learn from. You can look at his story, the way he started, how he came about. But one unique thing about him, he brought something that Kenyans that we didn't have as a country, and basically it's just an Amazon, but not for cars. You can be able to actually sell and buy your car. You can sell, and you can still sell your car, the car that you own, if you need to sell, and also you can still buy a car, whether second or new. You can go to buy through the platform. So I believe that is what was so unique about it, because there's so many kayaks in the country, but why did this stand out as a person? And I believe this is what made him stand out in the industry. And I think when he came about, he started marketing a lot of second-hand cars. And for those who own cars and are tried selling cars, sometimes it's a bit hard to actually find a buyer without, and sometimes you do not want the brokers in between. So you just need to buy a seller. You want to meet the buyer, and you being the seller, like just to cut down on a lot of drama. Anyway, so let's go to crafting your personal story, your personal and brand story. This is what this is basically coming up with a story, what people are going to tell about your brand. And when you're coming up with your story, you have to share your journey experiences and also challenges to just bring people and to bring people to you, and also people to relate. We need to relate. We need to see so and so. Went above and beyond to do this, or maybe so and so had to quit this course and go to this course because this is what resonated with them. Like, you have, whatever story you're telling has to give courage to your audience and motivate them. And one thing that is usually said is there's something that is usually said in marketing, where we say that people don't buy what they need, they just buy what they want because of how they feel. So you're supposed to, whatever story you're telling is supposed to actually make people feel something. And a compelling story has to be, you have to have facts in it. And also it has to give feelings. People need to feel sad, they need to be empathetic, they need to be happy, excited, motivated. Whatever feeling it is you're supposed to give your audience will matter a lot, because emotions actually connect you to your audience. And also you have to be like vulnerable. Be vulnerable. You show being vulnerable basically is not a weakness. Sometimes we see it as a weakness, or maybe we see that people are going to judge us based on our story. But if you look at the trends on the social media platform, we relate more with people who show us the challenges they're going through when they're shooting their videos. Like we need to relate. Let me give an example of like motherhood. When you're we're trying to actually go away from punishing our kids with canes, causing pain to them, and maybe going to the other form of punishment, where is basically understanding the child. So when you're told that sometimes as a parent, as much as you're going towards this journey, we tend to backlash a bit. You'll find that you relate to this parent because sometimes you're working towards a certain goal, and you tend to go back a bit. So it encourages individuals actually to they find you relatable, and when people find you relatable, they feel like you're within the same capacity and understanding and level they are. So they're going actually to listen to you. And one thing about being vulnerable is going actually it shows that also you're courageous. Like if I can talk about where I come from and how I've grown in this industry, or whatever industry it is, it will encourage someone else to start out whatever a journey they have just by just by hearing your story and being motivated by it. So also you need to embrace adversity. Adversity basically is the trauma and the tragic experiences we've had. These actually shape our brand. Whatever we have undergone through in life shapes who we are as a person. Whatever it is that you've gone through, like when you just sit down and analyze, it will shape your decisions, your choices, and everything from their own ones. So also you can share that. You have to embrace it and share it with your audience. But sometimes you also know the limits of how much you need to share. Basically, trauma and tragic will connect you. Also, it will bring about emotions, and it will connect you with your audience. To connect you with your audience. And the key aspect you're looking at is being emotional connected with the audience, because when they connected to you, they're going to be actually loyal to you. So whatever emotions that they are, empathy, compassion, resilience, give it to them so they can be able to, when they're telling your story, and they'll also make others feel the same emotion, but they'll be more passionate about when they're giving it out to individuals. Also, we tend to say when there's no conflict, there's no story. So also when there's no conflict, there's no story, and it's so essential because it adds depth and relatability to your, and also authenticity to your story. Talk about your obstacles, your challenges, whatever it is, whatever that has been on your journey to self-discovery and personal growth. Talk about it. And conflict basically creates tension and emotional engagement. And I said the target goal is emotions. Emotional engagement is what you're looking out. So figure out what conflict is and what you resisted and what lessons you learned from that, and share that story. Tell it to individuals. One person that I feel like has benefited in Kenya from conflict is Sue Owino. I know so many of us know that, but she's benefiting a lot from the gender drama we have. Like we're fighting, the men are fighting the women, and because of this, I feel like she's benefited because one, she's giving men the highest form of who a wife is, and she's raising the bar for that. And women are challenged because of this. So we are either trying to. You'll find that when you look at the social media platform, you find that people are trying. There are those who are trying to actually reach her bar, and there's also who are saying this is not for me. So I believe that that is how she's getting, because every time she surprises us and she raises the standard, and we keep on saying I think that is one thing that has been going around, like she's keep on raising the standard, and I believe that that is how she has benefited from the conflict we have in the gender war. So you have to learn to embrace your struggles and become relatable, inspire and empower individuals, show them your resilience, show them courage, give them hope. Give them hope also. So you also have to engage, also highlight your key moments, achievements, to show people that it's possible to do this and this. Engage your audience. You tailor brand your story to resonate with your target audience. Whatever audience you're targeting, make sure the story resonates with them. So you can use various storytelling techniques, such as being authentic as possible, as equally the same vulnerable and also emotions to captivate your audience. And also you have to embrace your roots, where you come from, your cultural background, who you are. Like for me, I'm Luya, and I feel like I'm Luya, and also there are two things I identify. I'm Luya, and then also number two, I live in Mombasa. So when you look at the history of lawyers, like when like some years back you say I'm a lawyer, people will attach us to being a watchman or being, a house elf. And I feel like Sauti Sol who are part of the journey for lawyers, where they actually rebranded us in a way and showed that the world can still we can do other things other than just being house elves and watchmen. So I usually say thank you to Sauti Sol for this, because I believe when we grew up, actually, some of us are not even proud to say I'm lawyer. So I usually say I'm usually very grateful to Sauti Sol. And you have to embrace, and also when I'm talking about Mombasa, is where I'm living currently. I believe that where you come from and where you currently live is a contribution to your cultural background in its aspect. It's like your cultural capital. So what do people say about Mombasa? People talk about when you say Mombasa, people, we just, the first thing that clicks in people's mind is laziness. But for those who live here, like I can pick 5 people who are doing so well and actually are making a change in the world, and they're still living in Mombasa. And once we mention like Nairobi is fast paced. When we talk about it being fast paced, and the second that comes after that is usually theft, and so you have to be on the alert. So where you live currently actually is also comes about in how you can tell your story and develop your own brand. So you embrace all these things and incorporate them into your story and bring out your personality. And one thing that Rio Santosa said is people don't fall in love with business, they fall in love with personality. And if people love you, they will always support you. So bring out your personality, whatever it is. I say the society has always for a long time been bashing out introverts and embracing extroverts. But I feel like as introverts, we were never given the chance to just express ourselves. Because why? We're not loud, but we have, as an introvert, you'll always attract introverts and sometimes also extroverts. And extroverts will always interact. Also, both ways. It will usually go both ways depending on what an individual is looking for. So nowadays, people are now coming out openly saying I'm an introvert, because why? We begin to embrace our personality of who we are. So being an introvert doesn't mean you're lesser because someone else can speak up faster than who you are, because you know what you bring to the table, and that is enough for an individual. So as Brené Brown said, staying vulnerable is a risk we have to take if you want to experience connection. And that is why you feel like when someone is going through something that you went through, you can easily bond. Like when I became a mom, it was a struggle for me to actually. I felt like single people who do not have kids, could not understand what I'm going through. But when you speak to someone who doesn't have a child and someone who has a child, there's a very big difference. And basically, it's just the experience you go through and being vulnerable to them, and them being vulnerable to me, and we can understand each other in the specific emotional connection we had, and that is how we bond basically in life. So be vulnerable as much as possible to your people. Just speak who you are. So once you're able to identify who you are as a brand, you have to now find a way of leveraging now the platforms and the social media now, the online platforms, social media, whether it's website or the various social media platforms you have. So one, you have to identify platforms relevant to your industry and your target audience. Given an example, like we have LinkedIn. When I talk about LinkedIn, what comes to your mind? It's one thing is just professional networking there. Like when I say LinkedIn, it will talk professional networking, career development, B2B brands. And it has been perceived to just be a platform for that. When I talk about Twitter, and I just mentioned Twitter, other than the fights we have as Kenyans on Twitter, Twitter basically is known for news, real-time updates, thoughts on leadership, customer service, just anything about news, being updated on whatever is going on. Twitter will be the first thing that comes to your mind. When I say Instagram, when we say Instagram, basically we talk when you just mention Instagram, the first thing that clicks on your mind is lifestyle, because it's just basically a platform where people lifestyle, fashion, beauty, travel, visual telling. Because Instagram is where a lot of reels are done, and this is where we do like the visual storytelling, which is basically the reels. And if you notice, most people will post in Instagram and they go to Facebook. And when you talk about Facebook, we talk about the millennials mostly. And Facebook is perceived as just a place where they have established brand. But the key aspect of it, when we talk about Facebook, from the word face, and book is just a place where we came together, where we connect with the family, our lost friends. That was the representation of Facebook we've had over the years. So when you first understand what each platform offers, which platforms and what services they offer, you can able to know where you can position your brand. And now you have to understand the features and functionality of each platform to maximize your brand visibility. When you're looking at YouTube, when you look at YouTube, what can you use actually to be able to grow your platform? And for YouTube, you'll find that it's the shorts that you do will help you grow and bring people to you. Equally the same to Instagram. It's the reels that actually bring you the new audience. You use when you're looking at Instagram, you use the post that you create basically as to maintain your audience, and the reels will bring you new audience to your page. So you also have to understand the features. So each social media platform is different. Also on the website of the ACOs, you also have to understand that and know how they can actually bring your audience to you. Also have to strategize. What are the strategies for building your brand? And of course, when people open your page, what can they see? That is key. So that is your profile. So you have to create a compelling profile that showcases your expertise, personalities, and values. So you share valuable content, engage with the audience. So this will enable individuals from a day-to-day, when they come to your page, what do they see? What can they connect with? So you also participate in relevant conversation to establish your presence. This can be seen when you look at the what are they called, the influencers online. You'll find that you'll see that someone has a YouTube page, another one has a YouTube page, or maybe IG page and IG page, and they usually come together based on the number of followers they have. Because when they sit down and talk about a topic, all their fan base is in one platform, and so you bring other people's fan base to you. So this can be also important when you're trying to actually grow. So as I said, challenges are going to be there. Challenges are going to be there. And when it comes to personal branding, the challenges we have basically just fears. We come with the fears we have, especially for people who are self-critic. So the common challenges we get for branding is the fear for negative feedback and criticism. We usually fear a lot that maybe when we come out, people are not going to love us, or people are going to be so critic. But this also is piled up by the current social media we have, because when you look at people's pages and how mean people are and the negative feedback that are there, sometimes you can take a step back. Instead of putting yourself out there, you're going to actually you're going to still remain and not come up with a brand. But we usually say you look at the enemies that you have, whatever enemy that is there. You look at the enemy, and what you do is you come up with a cause. Like when you're looking for a cause of what you're fighting for. Let's say we want to stop Mombasa people from throwing plastics in the ocean. So you build up your audience are going to be like your soldiers. So you have to give them a cause. You can tell them you're killing the marine life. You should need to stop something of the sort. So these will also bring people to you, and they help you push the story forward. And also, sometimes imposter syndrome and self-doubt. Sometimes we doubt ourselves, and doubting ourselves usually comes out with overthinking, which is basically an analysis paralysis that we have. You overanalyze something until you doubt yourself. So I believe self-doubt you can cure it by just educating yourself and keep on understanding who you are. Imposter syndrome comes when you're trying, like I said, social media has given us like a very picture perfect life and identity. So when you try to do what someone else is doing, you end up having the imposter syndrome. So this is why we say you have to be as authentic as possible to yourself, and you will avoid having the imposter syndrome, because if you're authentic to yourself, you love what you do, there's no way you're going to actually have that. So also balancing personal and professional life can be a bit challenging, especially when your personal and professional personas, because who we are at the office is not the same person as who we are as friends, and it's not the same person who we are in our homes as fathers, mothers, wives, husbands. We are very different. So sometimes balancing these two personas can be uh, 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 an issue. So try your level best to be authentic wherever you are at yourself. Just keep on trusting your instincts, and also like the various strategies you talked about, cultivating resilience and self-confidence. You need this to be able to actually stand in and also market your own brand. You can also seek support from mentors and peers and also online communities, because when you speak to your mentor or your peer who's doing maybe equally the same to what you're doing, not necessarily the same thing, you will understand the struggles, whatever they went, and this will actually build it will actually build your resilience and self-confidence. Because when you know that if you understood that somebody went from this and this and this, maybe like when you look at our industry for music, most of these individuals usually talk about coming from the hood and then raising going into gangs, getting the money and trying to come out on the other side. So if someone else is the same situation or maybe a different one, they'll be motivated to actually come on the other side. So that is why we seek mentors in peers. Peers will give you a view of who you are as an individual, how they see you, and that can also be a way to help you overcome challenges. And I usually say, if you can't find mentors, I believe there's someone within your interest or your passion. There's always someone who's come ahead of you. They might be doing what you want to do, or maybe you want to perfect or do better from whatever they're doing. They can help you from that. But if you don't find someone you resonate with, I usually encourage for people, don't just concentrate on the Kenyan market. You can look outside. You can look outside to see who can be your mentor, or you can read books. You can either read books or you can listen to people's stories online. And I'll tell you, for free, you'll find someone who you resonate with. Whatever topic it is, you always have to find someone. So when you put yourself out there, whether you do good, you fail, just learn from them. Whatever setbacks you have, learn from it. If I came up with a webinar and I did not market it enough and I did not have the best forum that I can, I learn from it, and next time I'm going to actually give it some time, market it well. So use them as an opportunity to grow, because when you keep on reflecting on who you are as a person, in the mistakes you've done and everything, it will help you grow and go to the next step. And as we come to the end of it, I want to say thank you. Thank you for actually showing up. Thank you for taking your time out to just come and listen to me. Thank you for believing in me. And if you have any queries, questions, or just need to inquire about something, you can always just send an email to the email given, which is femalefusionke@gmail.com, and someone is going to answer your questions. So I'm going to check on the. If you have any questions, you can ask them right now as we. If there's any questions we have, you can just answer them. So Dorothy, awesome content. Good job. Okay, thank you, Dorothy. Meryl, thank you so much, Stella, for this opportunity. Next question for tonight is to know how. I've gotten 2 questions on how someone's personality can actually affect your brand. So your personality can be able to affect your brand. I think those are the 2 questions I've gotten. Is there any other person with a question? Or let me check. You can just post your questions if you to get answered there. I'm waiting for the questions. You can be able to go through. Or I believe guys are satisfied with whatever content has been given. So it's Beryl who has actually posted the questions twice. How can my personality be able to actually affect my brand? So who you are as a person can be able to actually either grow you or it can either grow you depending on the opportunity you have, or it can actually bring you down. So when you're looking at various aspects, like when I was talking about introverts and extroverts, like when you're in a space where uh, like when you're looking at the engagement levels we have, we as introverts usually tend to actually prefer one-on-one. Like for me, I'll prefer doing a Zoom because it's one-on-one. I'm not in a room with a lot of people, but I can still do the physical meetups. But I'm comfortable with one-on-ones mostly, and I feel like it will affect depending. So you have to know where your personality works best. That is why I'm saying you need to understand who you are as a person. So how you interact with people and how you flexibility and adaptability you have. So your engagement level can be an issue depending on the current role that you've picked. That is why you have to check on that. Also, how you communicate. Are you assertive or are you reserved? Depending on now the what is it called? Depending on the passion you picked or whatever service you want to give or whatever you want to offer you as a person out here, it can be a problem because you'll find that like in our job, we sometimes we require to do a lot of PR in the job, and if you're an introvert, when you're given the chance, mostly you're going to actually uh, not want to put yourself out there, and you'll find that when you don't, there's something that is usually said in corporate that it is your responsibility to to give your to show your to be visible in your company. Like it is you that has to make the bosses see who you are, like who you are, so that you can be able to actually for them to understand who you are and also actually attract the opportunities that are within the specific industry. So that is how we can. There's so many ways this personality can actually affect your branding. So that is why I'm saying you have to understand who you are as a person and what are your strengths and weaknesses. When you understand that, you can be able to position yourself well, and also your learning preferences. For me, I don't like. I prefer reading. I prefer watching videos. I have a better understanding because my understanding is usually more on. I grasp things picture based. So it can also be, and it can also affect you and also how you respond to challenge. And your responses to challenges usually, these I feel like the people who are proactive when they see an obstacle, they're going head on head with them. And those who are some people who see obstacles, they want to go around them. And some people who don't like conflicts mostly, you find that they avoid them. So I believe your personality can affect your brand in very specific ways. So thank you guys for coming into the webinar, and I hope you enjoyed yourself. So I'm going to log out. So feel free to log out from the webinar. Someone is raising their hand. Aurelia Grace has raised their hand. Aurelia, you can just post your Q&A, your question, or you can just post on the Q&A or in the chat. Not a question, but a thank you note for journaling. You're welcome. How can I market my brand on social media yet I don't have followers? That is from Aurelia. So Aurelia, like I said, you have to understand, whatever platform you have. Like when you look at YouTube, you can use it to share your links. When you look at Instagram, YouTube, you can also grow your audience through short. The video shorts that you do for YouTube shorts. Instagram, the reels bring you them. So you understand whatever it is on the platform that you have that you can use. So you pick that specific platform. But if you need more details on the same, on where you want to grow your which app you need to use, you can just send an email or give you a bit of a detail an answer. How do you separate your brand from yourself? That is a question by Zola. With platforms where you appear for your brand and personal platforms where you create on an easy laid back personality. And also, how does one avoid being misplaced from their audience? This still comes down to when we're saying balancing your personal persona in the professional persona, because You being out there and you being in the house are two different people, and we all know that. And sometimes when you don't know how to balance that, is where we start feeling like we're imposters. And a brand is the image you create, the image you've created in people's mind about you, basically. So that is what you push and you go ahead. So how do you separate yourself from your brand? You need to like understand what you need, where and when, and how to break from it. You just need to understand. Like when you look at musicians, they talk about when they're on the stage, they're a different person from who they are. So when they get to the stage, they get into the personality they need to present to the world. So you being able to separate yourself from the brand is understanding actually when you understand yourself well, like in details of what you want, who you are as a person out there within the house, or just with your friends, you can be able to actually separate yourself from your brand. From your brand, and with platforms where you appear for your brand, and personal platforms where you engage on an easily like personality. So for this, you look at where you want to market your brand more. Which kind of audience do you want? So Instagram is looking you for, like when you look at Instagram and TikTok, those things are two different things that two different things and content you can put out there. So sometimes you can separate the platforms, and you can pick one platform for whatever specific for your specific brand, and you can pick another platform for your personal. So or sometimes you can decide to separate the brand and just have the same platforms, one with your brand name, because you say when you name something you own it, and the other one with just with you as a person. If you look at the various influencers and people we know online, either they have separated the platforms, or they're using different platforms on different purposes. Like you'll find someone has an IG for lifestyle, has a TikTok, has a TikTok for the challenges, and also they have just Facebook to interact with their friends, or maybe they have YouTube, and now they're giving information. So sometimes you see, like give an example of Susie Homestead, whatever she posts on YouTube, whatever is on like she grew fast on YouTube. She was growing fast on YouTube, and now she's trying to grow her Instagram. So you can pick, you can differentiate the social media apps, or have just you can name your brand and maybe have your name on the side. How does one avoid being misplaced from their audience? You have to, like I was giving the example of the brands. For you to avoid being misplaced from your audience, basically you have to understand what your audience require. And when you start, this goes back down to your goal as to why you came up with the brand. What was your purpose? So once you lose your purpose, like I was discussing with a few friends of mine, you start out something, and it's doing so well, and you're getting or you cannot please everyone. This is where it comes when you're pleasing everyone. Everyone is giving you comments on the same, like, can you do this? Can you do that? So you find that you become displaced from the audience, because you lose the authenticity that you had priorly. So when you just keep on being authentic, follow your purpose, do not deviate from it, and you follow and don't listen to whatever suggestions you get, unless it's just someone who's trying to critique your work and make you and help you like develop the work better. So if there's no any other or Aurelia Grace, I don't understand. You just said I have, so I don't know if there's more you need, but you can still chat. So I think that this is, I had given the webinar an hour, and our time is up. So I am going to, I'm saying thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for believing in me, and thank you for being here for me and listening. And feel free to log out, and I do appreciate you taking your time out to actually be in the webinar. So you can still email. For those who have my personal number, you can send messages, and you can email and ask the questions you need and everything. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there to answer. And for the women, my platform is for you. So come out if you have challenges, if you need if you need someone to actually push you to grow. And still, you can go on my YouTube and check. YouTube, just Google Stella Muyoka. Look at the stories women are there. And if you have a story as a woman that you feel like, or as a man, and you feel like it's going to be beneficial to women, please come out. Come, let's talk about it. And I feel like the more you talk about your story, you embrace who you are, and you remove shame from yourself. So thank you. I hope to hear from you. Thank you so much.